Okay, so today we're talking about needles, or AKA cartridges, and the cartridges that you should have some knowledge of as a beginner because, just starting, you probably don't know which is the best needle, best cartridge to start with, especially if you bought one of those starter kits that I tell y'all not to buy. And they just give you some random type of cartridge or needle, and most likely you'll try to just keep going with that same brand or find that same brand, and that might not be a good brand. So not having any knowledge about needles, I'm gonna tell you now, first piece of game, number one, all cartridges are not made equal. Okay, you have your lower level in quality, you have your mid in quality, then you have your high quality needles, just like any other piece of equipment, especially when it comes to tattoos. And what I always say, your tattoo is only going to look as great as your equipment allows it to look. You could be doing a great job, doing all the right techniques, all the right methods, but it still will not have that professional look because you're dealing with a lower grade of equipment. In this case, a lower grade cartridge needle. So I'm gonna put you on game on which ones that should have put you ahead of the curve. Should have you a great start. They're stable. They're good for lining. I'm gonna show you some that's good for shading, some mags that will have you on a great start because most people just don't know. And then you can just always buy these needles and always have a great look on your tattoos, and you won't have anything to worry about. So first, let's go to old trusty Amazon. And why I always choose, let me tell you why I always choose Amazon, because they're quick. When I order stuff from Amazon, it comes in 1 or 2 days. Most of the time when you go to different websites and try to order equipment, it usually takes a week. Some say it's a day, turnaround, or 2 days or whatever, but they usually charge you more than that. If you just go get a Prime account with Amazon, most of the stuff and most of your essentials that you would need to tattoo, it's on Amazon. Especially all the knick-knack stuff, all that is on Amazon. Only thing I really go get from an actual tattoo website is big pieces of furniture, tattoo-wise, or my machines. Higher grade machines. I might go to FK Irons to get my gun or machine, or I might go to Humminbird or Bronc to get my machine because Amazon might not carry all the available machines. But other than that, when it comes to most of the needles and all the inks and everything else, ink cups and things of that nature, it's on Amazon, and they're quick. It's going to come very fast because you need your stuff to get to your clients. Okay, so Amazon. So, let me just pull up these needles here. Pull up mass cartridge needles. Now, as you can see, these are pretty cool, not high, not expensive at all. These are the lower level needles I would use. I personally don't use these needles, but for my beginners, these are a great needle to learn with, to start with. If you're trying to look for an inexpensive cartridge, mass is it. I include this brand in my rookie kit. When I put kits together for my students, I use the mass because it's just a great brand to start with, and it's inexpensive, especially when you're starting out. You're trying to make money. Most likely you don't have the money to spend to get the high-end stuff. So this is a great choice. They're stable, meaning, and I'm going to show you in a minute what I mean when I say stable. They're a good, stable, decent quality cartridge, and they're inexpensive. So write this down. Pen and pad. Mast. M-A-S-T. And they have, basically all the sizes you would need. Now, this $33 box right here, check this out. I have single-handedly developed one of the best online tattoo courses for beginners you'll ever see. Let me tell you why. For one, I have been tattooing for 26 plus years. Okay, all the ups, downs, what's good about the game, what's bad about the game, I know. For two, I have already, before this online course, I've literally showed so many people how to tattoo, even artists that don't even have any art history. Yes. For three, I'm going to teach you how to actually make money from tattooing, because a lot of people, they might tattoo, but they don't know how to get in the clientele. Nope. This course has everything in it. I try not to leave out nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. Nope. How to make a proper professional stencil. How far the needle's supposed to come out of the machine. I even teach skin education, lining techniques, shading techniques, and I even teach you how to market yourself online, which I know most tattoo instructors, they don't. So tap in right here, link in the description, Ink Gallery Academy online tattoo course. You can take it your own time, your own speed. It's gonna break you into the industry so you can fast track your way into becoming a good tattoo artist. Well, they look like they didn't. Well, no. Yeah, $33 box, $34, $33.99. It has all the needles in it. It's a 50-piece, and it comes with your round liners, round shaders, round mags, and mag ones. All in one box. You can't beat it because each tattoo come to you. Each tattoo is going to be different. Every client that comes to you, you will never be doing the same tattoo. So you need different sizes. And that's a big mistake most beginners make. They make the mistake of using they just buy one box of 7 round liners and do all their tattoos with that one size. You shouldn't do that. Each tattoo deserves a different needle because it will create a different look. It all depends on what your client wants. Okay? So here you go in one box. You got everything you need. So we can start with this, MAT, masked. Go get the assorted box. Everything comes in it, and it's only $33 for all sizes. And I haven't even seen another brand that offers this. Most of the other brands, when they do assorted boxes, they do only stick in one category. Like it might be assorted number of round liners or assorted number of round shaders. This box has different ones, round liners, round shaders, mags, all in one box. I don't think anybody else is doing that. So this is a great needle to start with, to use. And like I said, I suggest you go get the assorted box. Therefore, you got everything you need. You got a variety. Now these right here. Click on these. I love these. Now I use these basically almost every time I tattoo, depending on the tattoo. But if you're coming to me and getting the average tattoo, everyday tattoo that I do, the urban style that I do a lot, I'm using these needles right here. They're a very stable needle, okay? Very good needle to use. And they got everything. They got bug pins. They got every size. You just have to go through. As you can see, they're not as cheap as the masked are, but they're not so much higher. The masks, you see, a lot of them prices was in the teens, $13, $15. These are mostly in the 20s. You see $20. And like I said, these are 50 pieces, so $25. But they are all just one size. You get a 50-piece round liner for like $22.99. Good needle, okay? Great needle, very stable. This is one of their premium needles. I don't know how to say the name of it, but I do know it is a IINK brand. And if you see that logo on the box, that's what you're looking for. I think it's called Quail or something like that. But I use these needles all the time. Probably 90% of the time I'm using this needle. Very good needle, man. Very good needle. Very stable. Works well. I have no problem with this needle. And it's a professional needle. Like I said, it's not the highest end, but it's damn sure ain't the lowest of the low. You do any work with this needle, you're going to have some great looking work. But the thing about that needle, this IINK needle, I don't use their mags because I don't think their mags are as good as their round shaders and round liners. So I only use round liners and their round shaders from this brand. I use a total different brand when I'm using a mag. So let me show you what I use when I'm using a mag. I use two different brands. This is a good brand for starters because, once again, it's inexpensive. Here we go. Big Wasp. Right here. This is a 9 mag for $17. Once again, inexpensive. Not expensive at all. Very affordable. And man, they're so stable. I'm about to show y'all in a minute how stable this needle is. It is a inexpensive needle, but it's going to give you a pro look. You're not going to have any problems with this needle. I promise you that. Matter of fact, these last two needles, they're not going to be breaking on you. Some of them cheap needles you'll get, they just break on you. I've never had a problem with any of these needles. Out of the thousands of needles I've used and ordered, maybe one or two defected one. That's a great ratio if you're asking me. You know, great needle, high quality. I don't have no problem with this. But I only use their mags. I used to use their round shaders and round liners, but they wasn't as stable as that IINK brand I just showed you before this. So I found that other brand, and they just make crispier lines. Their lines were it was okay. It wasn't bad. It still gave you a professional look. But their mags, I use them every day too. Majority of the time. Now, we can go to this other brand. This is the higher end brand I use. Now, when I use this needle, this is when I'm doing portraits or realism work, or the client just wants it to look extremely good, or, they just wanted to have that high end look, or I just want to give that look. This is the brand I use. Now, I'm telling you now, for beginners, if you don't know, and if you have the money for it, this is the best needle you're going to get. This is the top professional level needle. I used to say it was Cheyenne needles, because a lot of high-end tattoo artists use Cheyenne needles. This needle here has Cheyenne beat, and I used Cheyenne for years. To me, nothing was better than Cheyenne needles, but until I ran into Quadrant. And I don't even know what made me order it. I think it was just the packaging and the price. The price was so high. I was like, man, I got to see why these needles so high. And when I did and bought them and seen how expensive they was, and the quality is crazy. I've never used a needle that was this professional and this good. And that's this Quadrant. As you can see right here, it is a 20 piece for $56 for $57. Okay. That is expensive as hell in the cartridge needle world. So for 20, you're only getting 20 and you're spending 60. So damn near $60. So if you buy 2 boxes, you're over $100. That is an expensive needle, but I promise you, this is the best high quality needle I've ever worked with. And I'm talking about from round liners to round shaders, all of it. Everything is stable. They make the crispiest lines. The shading is crazy. The mags are crazy. When I do real big jobs, I don't even use Big Wasp 23s. Like if I'm doing a sleeve and I got a big area to cover, especially when I'm shading, I only use my Quadrant needles, and they give it a look and the smoothest look ever. Liners are super crispy. I don't even know what they're doing over here at the factory, and I'm not sponsored by these people or nothing. I'm just telling you from experience. This is the best needle. They're way more expensive, but if you just want to hop in the game as a beginner and just get the top-notch needle, your work is going to look great. I see a lot of tattoo artists just starting out, and the needle, the work just looks blown out. The lines are not crispy. It's just not complete lining. A lot of that has to do with what you're working with. I tell majority of my students, a lot of times you cannot achieve that look because you're just working with the wrong equipment. And it's discouraging. It's going to make you feel like you're not doing a good job, and you could be doing the straightest of lines, but if that line is not, if that needle is not stable and is wiggling around inside that cartridge because it's a low quality cartridge, I don't care how steady you move your hand and make a line, it still will not come out right. Just because you're using bad equipment. Bad equipment will discourage majority of the beginners. If you come in the game using high-end equipment or mid-grade equipment, you're gonna be proud of the work you're doing, and you're gonna want to keep going. That bad equipment is discouraging. It makes you want to put the gun down. I promise you it does. So those are some of the top needles that I use personally every day. The only ones I don't use, like I said again, is that mask, but they're still great for beginners. And let me show you what I mean by quality needles or how stable the needle is. Okay, so the best way to see if a cartridge or a needle is quality or not. Some cheap needles are actually cheap and they don't have good quality, but some cheaper needles are still good quality needles. So it's not about if the needle or the cartridges are cheap or not. It's the fact, are they made quality? And the best way to check to see if they made quality is this little test right here. So anytime you get a new box of needles that you haven't worked with before, you want to see if they're good needles or not, what I do is I get one, I open one up, I push it out, and I see how much it wiggles. Can you see that? And it wiggles just slightly. Not much, just a little movement. That's a good needle. Because all of them are going to move, but the less, because you have some that move a lot. Like if you stick the needle up and you move it, it does a lot of moving on the inside. You want to see how stable the needle is, because if you stick somebody or enter the skin with this needle and you drag it and it moves and it's not stable, and while you're moving the needle and it moves a lot, that will create bad lines. And you're saying everything in your head like, man, I'm moving as steady as possible. Yeah, you're moving steady, but the needle is not steady and stable. And that's how you check to see that one little simple test right there, if the needle is a quality needle. Okay, so you always want to check the cartridge to see if the membrane in here is holding the needle steady. Okay, so from seeing that, you see exactly what I mean. That little trick, that little test, every time you get a new box of needles or new brand of needles, just do that little test to it and you will see how stable and how great the quality is on the needles. And that's pretty much it, man. Very simple. Needles are important. The machine is very important. Those two things, if you got a good machine, a great machine, you got great needles, cartridges, you're in the game. Nothing's going to be able to stop you, and you'll be able to get clientele very fast just because your work looks great out the gate. And that's some game that most tattoo artists will not give nobody. That's a secret. A lot of these great tattoo artists, they're great, but they're not doing such hard work to get that look. The equipment is doing 50% of the work. Okay? I promise you that. So there you go. Tap into those needles. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by these people, none of these brands. I don't know. I just use these brands every day, and they work for me, and they've been working for me for years. So I suggest you do the same. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video.